Priscilla Kandel, here to share my love of the arts with you. For years, I've taught piano, sung at theme parks and special events, composed music for children, and produced and performed in live shows, television, and films. On this show, I'll be sharing various artists and types of art. Welcome to The Arts and You. Hollywood is like a magic land for creative arts of all kinds. Actors yearn for their big break and think Hollywood is their answer. But is it that easy to break into Hollywood? Let's meet some actors in the midst of that journey.
Our actors today are Stephen Wu, Dana Cornelius, and Joseph Miller. I'm going to ask each of you to introduce yourselves. Stephen.
Hi, I'm Stephen Wu, and I'm a born-again actor. I used to do this business some 35 years ago. I worked a lot of the high school, college shows, Room 222, World's Greatest Athlete, and then did it for a while, met my wife and says, I'll marry you, but you got to get a real job.
Dana.
Hi, Dana Cornelius, and I'm an actress. I started in high school and continued through my early 20s, stopped because I had to pay rent, and I rebooted my acting career last year at March 1st, and in 10 months' time, I booked over 35 roles.
Wonderful. Joseph.
I'm Joseph Miller. I'm from the Midwest. I've been acting since grade school days, and high school, undergraduate degree in theater, graduate at UCLA in theater, and the last 2.5 years I've done 88 projects. So.
Wonderful. Well, you know, many people think they can just take a bus, come to Hollywood, and become a star. Joseph, what do you think about that? Is that true?
Well, there's no one way into this business. But I have seen people actually come. A relative of mine came, and within 6 weeks she had a speaking role on a daytime episodic, and she got signed with Wilhelmina.
Dana, what do you think? Is that the same kind of story you are facing today?
No, it's not. I believe getting on a bus and arriving in Hollywood expecting to have speaking roles within a few short weeks is really, it's a pipe dream. It's highly improbable. Possible, yes. Improbable, no. My story is different. I prepped for it, and I have a long history of being in corporate America, and I learned how to be a professional. So when I got into acting, I addressed it very professionally. I had a marketing plan. I learned how to write notes in a very business-like, professional fashion. I got everything together in a very professional, systematic way that really got me out of the starting gate very quickly.
Well, just like a professional job, you have to have a resume, Dana. And
that's correct.
What would you recommend is the best way to start a resume? Would you recommend student films, commercials? What do you have to tell us?
Well, in the beginning, you can't be picky. You take everything, really, within your own set of values. For your resume purposes, though, the best thing, in my opinion, to do is list your education. And also, contrary to popular belief, I would actually do auditions, list your auditions, and list for principal roles, and list some background that are on feature films, notable feature films, like I did. I was in The Laundromat. Once you build up your principal roles and your supporting roles, then those background role line items will drop off naturally, and the auditions will automatically drop off. But you're looking for line items on a resume. You got to fill it up with something, photographs, something.
Wonderful. Stephen, you started out as a young actor, and you had some different experiences then than you might have now. Can you talk about that?
Well, the industry has totally changed. Back in the day, everything was controlled by the big studios, by the unions. You had to be union. You had to have an agent. It's a different world today. You don't need an agent. You don't need to be union. You need to get out there and work. We're talking about Resume, well, the performance reel is the new resume. You have to have that. You build on it. You do some student work. You get together with friends and say, hey, let's get some film going, and you just make it happen.
Yes, and you have had some acting workshops even at your own home, haven't you?
That's correct. You've been to them.
Okay, so let's get to the question. Dana, you mentioned IMBD. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yes, my understanding is that IMBD is an industry-wide accepted go-to platform for anyone in the industry, whether they're writers, producers, directors, or actors, and it's the online resume. So it's also controlled by producers, the production companies, or the actor.
Oh, wonderful.
Actor for a price north of $100, which enables the actor to really control the content. If they don't have that control, they're relying solely on the production company's discretion and timeline to upload or include their credit.
Stephen, you said you started acting when you were a young man. Can you tell us what it was like then?
It was the old school. Everything was controlled by unions. You had to have an agent. You had to belong to the union. It's different now. But in those days, I was working a lot, but I was limited. I was only sent out for certain stereotypical parts. You know, as a houseboy, a coolie, a
Oh my. Yes.
So it was limited. And now things are more diverse. People, they consider you for all types of different roles, which is great. There's more competition, but it's very satisfying.
I love that. And now, Joseph, you mentioned something about going to school. Do you think it's important for actors to have acting lessons?
Absolutely. When you get on a set, it can be a small set, 4 or 5 people, or there can be 20 or 30 people if you're lucky and you get onto a bigger project. So it's a lot of human resource and a lot of money to put together something.
That's right.
So you don't want to hire someone that just doesn't know what they're doing.
Exactly.
You have to have some degree of training.
Right.
I went through to master's degree and then 3 years at Playhouse West up in Studio City. And it's essential, yes.
Very, very good to know. And Dana, did you take classes?
Yes, well, I've been taking classes since I was in high school, and I currently take classes. So
You never stop learning, right?
you really don't. All the pros they're the first that are going to tell you never not take an acting class. You need a laboratory to work things out.
In fact, I
You
think,
need a lab.
Stephen, you had a laboratory. You started an acting workshop, didn't you?
That's correct. I figured, well, let's just get the people together from the South Bay, same interests, and let's just get together at our house every other week. We did cold readings, we did improvs, we got to know each other, and we supported each other.
It was a great experience. I went to one of those
You
or two
did.
of those. And today, if you're lucky, you get to audition. People think they're lucky to get the part after the audition, but it's hard to even get called for an audition. And when you go in nowadays, you don't always do it live, you get to tape it. I don't know why they call it taping, because we don't really tape them, we do it digitally. But if you are going to read a part and you have nobody to read the other part for you, some people say they change their voices and they read both parts. What do you do, Joseph? Do you have a reader?
That's just silly to change your voice. They want to know what you can do, and they can pretty much tell in 15 seconds.
That's
If
true.
you're the guy or the lady that, the actress or actor that they want, or if you got those qualities or you have that kind of a charisma that they're looking for, they can tell that quickly.
And Dana, do you use a reader?
No, unfortunately, I have the reader software, but I just don't have the time to go on there and ask somebody and wait and all that. So I do change my voice when it's reasonable. If it's not reasonable, then I will recruit somebody. But I need that beat, and sometimes I gotta wait several beats before my next line, and that's just the script that's given to me. And it's not for me to change that at all. I have to do exactly what the director wants.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
How about you, Stephen? Do you have a reader?
Yes, fortunately, I'm married to my reader.
How
You're
handy is
lucky.
that, right?
You're lucky.
We help each other. We
Right.
support
Yeah.
each other, and we're just constantly working together.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'd like to talk about agents, because some people believe in an agent. If they're lucky, they get one, and other people have agents who are saying they're really not working out for them. Stephen, do you have an agent?
You know, we just parted ways with our agent. There's a conflict now with having an agent and self-submitting. I like to self-submit, and my agent doesn't want me to self-submit. So that's a problem. And I will not give it up. I will not give up self-submitting. I like that control over my career, going out for the parts I want to go out for and not going out for the parts that I don't want to.
Well, what sites would you look for to book yourself through?
Basically, there are two major ones. LA Casting, which is now Casting Networks, and Actors Access, in that order.
And how about you, David?
Backstage is another good one. That's actually designed and operated by actors, unlike Casting Networks and Actors Access. However, my agent just informed me that the Actors Access and Casting Networks, they have tremendous backing and protection clauses and protect the actors, unlike Backstage.
Okay.
But Backstage platform is so user-friendly, and they don't
Yes, it
nitpick
is.
and charge you and nickel and dime you for anything. It's just like one flat fee, bam, as many pictures and videos, and it's a pleasure to use.
Right. And how about you, Joseph? You have an agent?
I do Rick Ferrari over at Buchwald for a commercial, and they have a voiceover group there.
Oh, you've got a wonderful voice there.
Thank you very much.
I heard you're a singer, too.
I am.
And you've recorded?
Thank you. And I played sax years ago for Tina Turner's the review.
Oh.
But
Wow,
that's
that's
another
fabulous.
Can you
story.
sing a bar?
Do you think that the agencies earn their fees, Stephen?
They could, possibly. I mean, I don't know what they do. They used to send me out on things which I've already submitted for, and they would take care of the paperwork, but the production company takes care of that too. If you get a good agent, and they get out there, and they really work for you, and they promote you and start meeting people, yes. If they're just sitting there and submitting you online, no.
Oh, I think you had one wonderful gig that I wished I had. You got to go on a cruise ship for one of those commercials.
That was nice. It doesn't happen all the time, but we spent a week on the Princess Cruise down to
Wow.
Mexico, getting paid to play and eat. I'll do that any day of the week.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Bravo, yes.
Now, let's have a little fun. What was your best or worst audition? Let's start with Joseph.
Oh, start with me. Well, the one I had the most fun with, it was going down the tubes quickly, and I had to play a kind of a crazy guy.
Oh.
And I was watching at the three casting directors, and I said, okay, I'm losing these guys. I was talking to myself. And I got up and I walked across the room, and it was about boundaries, you know. This guy was always going across boundaries. So I reached over and I took his notebook, and as he was writing on it, and I slid it away from him, and I just looked at him, and I said, boundaries, right? And they said, that's enough, thank you, thank you. And I thought, well, I've totally blown that. But they called me in 3 weeks, and they said, are you the one that scared my casting director to death?
Stephen, what's your best or worst audition?
Well, we've been to thousands of auditions, all different types. One sticks out in my mind. We answered a call, and it was for all people of all types. We'd go there, and there were like skaters and old people and tall people. They taught us this dance routine, right? Found out the name of the show was called something like Naked Dating.
Oh, my gosh.
So we're there, and they teach us a routine, and people start, he says, okay, take off your clothes.
Oh, no.
They take a group of people in there. They start taking off their
Is that
clothes.
non-union?
Right. And, you know, we're looking at each other saying, do we want to do this? You know, but the money was good, and we drove all the way there, and we're ready to go. And I said, okay, we'll do this. But I will never forget that. We didn't, you don't strip all the way down, but people were really in their skivvies. And I saw the spot. It looked like they were totally naked, dancing around downtown. I said,
Oh, well, that's
I'm glad
fantastic.
we didn't get that.
Oh my gosh.
Implied nudity.
Everybody has, audition stories. I had one where I learned my lesson. You have to watch out for scams because you can get the audition, you can get asked to get the part, or you can be given a check that's a bad check and they're scamming money from your bank account. Or like one, it cost me a lot to park, and after I got there, they told me I was the best person that auditioned. I heard back from them 4 days later, and they said, well, you didn't get the part, but we'd like to involve you in another way. Would you go out and raise money so we could make the production? I said, how much money did you have in mind? They said, why don't you start with $35,000? Whoa, you can imagine what I wanted to say, but I didn't say it. Well, don't go away. We have a very special segment coming up for you next. Watch this.
The Arts in You now proudly presents an accomplished graphic artist from California. As a child, she showed special abilities perceiving things with unusual imagination. She soon began winning school and citywide contests, but her real talent blossomed in high school, doing graphics for the school newspaper where she won more awards. Then she excelled in college. She eventually owned her own graphic design firm for major movie studios and businesses like Mattel. As she tired of the corporate world, she began doodling for relaxation. Thousands of doodles later, she created coloring books, scarves, bags, tanks, pillows, and more. Soon she had her own galleries throughout Southern California. Her art is currently sold at the Open Market OC in Laguna, California. Let's meet Miyuki Sena.
First of all, thank you for having me on your show. I really appreciate being able to share being an artist and also my process.
I am so happy to have you here on the Arts in You to tell us all about your art and especially how you come up with your ideas and your doodles. Tell us about it.
Doodling is an unintentional drawing. So, I amounted like thousands of illustrations after a while. And so after I had finished using paper towels and napkins, I actually went out and got sketchbooks, and I have quite many.
Oh,
so here's some, just a very few that I used pen and ink on paper. And the way that I got my ideas is just by looking around me, seeing what was, a car driving by, a flower on the table, things in my dreams. I had insomnia at the time, and so I would have visions in my head, on my eyelids, and I would just bring them out in the doodles and the drawings.
Well, your doodles are not like I would doodle, I'll tell you. These are very intricate, and I love that you put so many different things into one picture. But what happened next after you started doodling for fun?
Okay, yeah, so for a living, I'm a professional illustrator, and so a lot of the drawings that I do as a professional is very high technique using digital apps. And I had kind of an aha moment where I was painting using Photoshop, Adobe Photoshop, and I found that I would use my doodles as sketches, much like an artist would take a pencil and put straight onto the canvas the drawing that they're going to paint.
Well, with all these doodles, I see you have a coloring book here.
Yeah, so it was really fun to pull out just 31 drawings for this particular book. It's a coffee table book. It's my second one. The first one was strictly a coloring book, and this one here was more of some ideas and some drawings. But it's printed on a paper that you could color it if you so choose.
Well, again, these are very unusual drawings. They're very intricate, and you could use your imagination just to wonder all the little pieces in the drawings, what they are. I mean, they could be animals, snakes, buildings. You've got a flower, a building, sometimes animals, other graphics. I mean, you'll take something that this almost looks like a butterfly, but when you see the total picture, I can imagine more than a butterfly. And I
Right.
think that's what makes your art very unique, because it's more than one item at a time.
Right.
So now tell us about the process of how you take these doodles and put them into more art.
Sure. So here's a drawing that I did with pen and ink. I use my doodles as sketches, as an artist would, where they have a canvas and they sketch out what they're going to paint. And then how do I get it on the computer is I have, this is a scanner, and it's very much like a Xerox machine or a copier.
Right.
And I take the drawing and I actually put it in there face down, and I scan it, and then I transfer it over either by a drive or Wi-Fi onto the computer. And so the laptop right here is something that I carry around with me, but at my studio I have full-size, a huge computer. So this is much like a canvas, and then I use a drawing tablet right here, which is very much like a pen.
Or a
Okay?
brush?
Or a brush, or a pencil, anything that you want it to be, but this is how I get the painting done.
Well, how do you get all these fabulous colors? Do you decide what colors they are, or in the shading?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked about that, because just because I use a digital app and the computer doesn't mean that I just snap a finger and it happens. It's the creativity that's inside of me, it's my imagination, it's me being the artist. And what's great about digital apps is you can have millions of colors, and then you can also use any kind of medium to make it look like pencil or watercolor. And then once it's done, you probably are wondering like how I get it onto.
Yes, tell us how that happens.
So this behind me right here is the finished painting of the drawing that you just saw, and it's printed on metal, aluminum.
Aluminum, that's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
unique. And then you just attach something in the back to put it on your wall.
Exactly. So instead of having it printed on paper with a frame, it is printed on metal. So it gives it a little bit more of a modern look to
Well,
it.
I know you go into a lot of galleries. Is it easy to make a living being an artist today?
It is not. A lot of galleries all over the world, including the ones that are in LA, that are downtown and on Wilshire, you know, they're having a difficult time trying to get people to buy art. It's not in our culture. It's not what you would call like something that people are really interested in right now. The economy is good, but I just feel like people are not going in that direction.
Well, you being a creative person have come up with another way to use your art in practical items. Please show
Yes.
us.
Okay, so as things are printed on metal, you can also create and design and print on. This is
over
a
here.
bag that's put on a neoprene type of material. It's an over the shoulder bag.
Very
it's wonderful.
soft.
Yeah, I use it all the time. It's stretchy, so I can use it for groceries or for books or laundry.
And this is very typical of your art. I see in there a rabbit, a ghost, a dog, a snail, all kinds of things in combination. I even see a fish, and I think that's what makes it fun.
Yeah.
Your art makes the person appreciating
Right,
it
Miyuki style.
be creative to
Right.
think of what you've made in there. What
Right.
else do you have?
I also have on clothing, this is a tank top that has a, I think it, you know, looks like a caterpillar.
Yeah, there's a
could be whatever you
caterpillar
wish
and
it
a
to be.
snake and flowers, and look at the beautiful colors there. I would love to wear something like that. What
And
else do we
and
have?
Here's a hoodie, and this is another piece of artwork on there.
Okay, so we can see the hoodies on one side, and the art is on the other side with
Right.
beautiful colors. Again, we have to guess what is in the picture.
That's called peach tree. That's my version of a peach
See,
tree.
you call it a peach tree, and as the viewer, I can call it all kinds of flowers and snails and snakes, and oh, it's fabulous. I love watching it and seeing what I see in it. Thank you, Miyuki, so much for being my guest, sharing your art and all your creativity. You must have a website where people can find more of your art.
I do. It's my name and my brand, and it's www.miyukisena.com.
This has been so much fun. I know we're going to have to do it again. But for the next show, I'm going to be bringing you more artists and arts. So be sure to tune in to The Arts and You.